G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm reviewing the Blink Outdoor 4 security camera. Is this the best security camera on the market? Let's find out. So you're interested in getting a security camera. Now if you're anything like me, that's been a bit of a challenge in the past. You've either got to do some destructive wiring that may require, or probably likely requires a professional electrician to be around, or you're trying to find some place where the solar can get to it enough to power it, or there's some complicated setup involved where you need to get a second screen going, or it needs to be right next to your router, and it's just, it becomes overly complicated. Now the Blink Outdoor 4 aims to sidestep all of that. And it's already a big brand overseas, in particular in the USA, but it's only just arrived here in Australia, and they've arrived with their latest 2024 range of few products, including this, the 4th generation of the Outlook 4. And in this review, we're going to dive in and see whether or not it can actually hit what it claims to do, which is just make security camera installation, security camera use in general, super, super easy. Now, as always, I'd like to start with the price. Now here in Australia, this bad boy costs $149 recommended retail. However, it's a bit of a curious one. So I've had a look around and I've seen this on sale. The kit this is the single camera kit. So it comes with the camera and the sync module too, which I'll explain what that does in a second. Otherwise, you can get 2 camera setups, or 3 camera setups, or 4 camera setups, even 5 camera setups. You can also buy cameras individually if you've already got a sync module. So there's lots of different ways. But if you just want this is the Get Started kit, $149 recommended retail. I've seen it as low as 75 bucks. Now, on top of that though, I've also seen it as high as 200. So, well, not quite 200, but just before 200. So yeah, definitely have a look around and have a shop around, because even as we'll go into it, even at 149, even at a recommended retail, I think this is worth considering. But if you get it for 75, it becomes a bit of a steal in my mind. Now, obviously, there's also a subscription service. Now, the Blink Outdoor 4 will operate just fine without a subscription service, but some of the key features, and I think the features that anybody who realistically wants a security camera are going to want, requires a subscription. Now, the basic subscription plan will set you back $50 a year here in Australia, and that's for 1 camera. If you want to get a plus, that's the basic plan, the plus plan is $150 a year, but it allows you to have up to, well, as many cameras as you can put onto it, unlimited cameras. So we're going to dive in a second and have a look at the comparison between those plans, just so I can show you exactly what you're going to get between them. But I do want to point out that obviously I am holding just the box here. There's nothing in it. Now usually I'd be holding the product, but the product is installed. So don't worry, you're going to see the product, don't worry. Okay, so let's go have a look at those comparison between the 3 plans effectively, the no plan, the basic plan, and the plus plan, and what the differences are, what you're going to get between those, so you can work out realistically what your price is going to be. Now it is worth pointing out you do get a 30-day free trial when you buy the product, so for at least for the first 30 days anyway, there is no additional cost to get all those features and experiment with them. I do think that's great from Amazon. You take as much as you can get, right, but 30 days is still pretty strong. It's not a week, it's a month, and that allows you a pretty good window to basically see whether or not you do want those features that are behind the paywall. All right, now let's see what the specifications are for the Outdoor 4. Now it records in 1080p at 30 frames a second, but the pictures are low res. It is 640 by 360. Not that pictures are a big thing with it, it's just mostly for thumbnails, so it's not a big issue, but just so you know. Now it has a wide angle field of view of 143 degrees, that's diagonal, and the wide angle is definitely a plus with this device. It runs off just AA batteries, so 2 AA batteries that can last up to 2 years. Now I doubt I will get there personally, as it's based on how sensitive you have the motion detection, how long you record for when something is detected, and how often you live stream to it. And I suspect probably also the elements if it's in extreme conditions. But I'm expecting to last at least a year before I have to take it down, unscrew the back of it, and replace the AA batteries. So not a big deal. The important element here is that it's wireless. You don't need wires. It doesn't need to be powered by wires. Now it is weather resistant, as you'd hope. Mine has already survived a few storms and baking in the sun without worry. It has an operating temperature range of -20 degrees to 45 degrees centigrade. And that 45 degrees centigrade does worry me a little bit because in the Australian sun in summer, if it's got direct sunlight in the middle of the day, it's probably going to cook it. In that it'll just stop working. So it should come back to life. I haven't got up to 45 degrees yet, but definitely that's something to keep on board on where you're placing it. You need to get some sort of shadow from the Australian sun or some sort of shade. Now it does have motion detection, which just comes across standard. It also has person detection, but you only get that via a subscription service. So once you're subscribed, you'll also get person detection. Obviously, it's going to start recording anyway if it sees a person because the person is motion, but the person is handy, that detection, because it basically labels it as a person when you're going through the clips that have been recorded and makes it easier to just jump straight to where you might want to jump. It is Wi-Fi enabled, but on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band, and that's important to note. We'll go into that a little bit more with installation, but that's important to note. Dimension-wise, it's really quite small. It's a bit of a pocket rocket. It's just 70 by 70 millimeters, so square in shape and 41 millimeters deep. It weighs just 141 grams, so you don't need much in the way of screws to hold it to the wall. And then of course there is the app support and the features I've already mentioned that are part of the subscription plan. Now those of you who are regulars to my channel will know that usually with these types of products I like to do the installation process with you in real time and go through it and learn about it and see what the process is like. This particular occasion I was unable to do that. What basically happened was that at 6:30 at night I found out I was going to have to go away the next day, and I basically had an hour to get it installed before the sunset, and I just really want to get it installed before I left on this trip. Now, what is a positive here is that I was able to do it in that hour quite easily, as it turned out. So I started at 6:30 and it was all installed by 7:30 and running perfectly. So that is obviously a good indication of the experience you're going to have here, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, and I ended up being able to do it quite easy. Now, the installation process comes in more or less 3 parts. So you have the first part, which is the camera itself. Now, the camera sits on a pretty short bracket with a little swivel head on it and just 2 screws. So basically you find your spot, you set it up, you put in you drill your 2 holes, you put in your 2 screws, it's fixed, and then the camera just basically clips on and can then just be pulled off later on when you need to change the battery. That swivels so you can actually just move it around and find where the head at. Now the second part of the installation process is the sync module. Now that sits somewhere inside your house or some other, separate from the camera, and that syncs with your Wi-Fi network. And then the third part is the app itself. So the way it kind of works is that you get into the app, you sync the camera to the sync module. So you plug in the sync module, you sync the camera to the sync module. The camera's running off battery, so it doesn't have to be plugged in or anything like that. And then you sync the sync module to your internet, your Wi-Fi network, and then you sync that to your app. And as soon as you go through that process, you're already looking through the camera on the app. And it was super straightforward. Like, the app just took you through it in a couple of steps. I was surprised how easy it worked. Everything that I asked it to do, it did straight away, quickly. There wasn't any kind of, oh, it's not syncing. There wasn't any, oh, I can't find it, anything like that. It was really quite seamless. And then as soon as you have the camera visible on the screen on your phone, then you can go around to where the places that you're thinking about putting it, hold up into place, have a little span around, work out whether or not, oh yes, it's seeing everything I want to see, no it can't, is it too far away, is it too close, and then get the perfect spot, and then that's when you then go and drill and install it. So for me, originally I went up to the second story and I had it looking down like my driveway in the front of my yard from the second story, and I was like, this is too far away. I'm not going to make out faces as easily as I want to. It's not quite giving me the broader spectrum I wanted to see kind of out towards the end of the driveway. And so then I brought it down to the second story, found a little spot there, and I went, oh, and it was perfect, because a wide field of view really does get, like it's like this. So you get quite a good view of the surrounding area. And that was that. and I was done. And because you can swivel it after it's installed, you can basically then just fine tune it. You know, I was up on the ladder, you just fine tune it, and then you just kind of go, okay, yeah, that's a sweet spot, that's a sweet spot right there. Then you go back into the app, you start playing around with how sensitive you want the motion to be, experiment for a little bit with people going past, things that you like, maybe you want everything that comes past in the street, maybe you just want people who come onto the driveway or to the front door, whatever it happens to be, and you just fine tune that motion detection, and it basically changes the range at which it triggers a recording and a notification. Now I ended up turning off the notifications because it was just like every couple of minutes, but what I can do is just basically go into the app and it'll just show me like it's already over 1,000 clips that I can scroll through for up to 60 days with the subscription. And if I, 99% of the time there's nothing to look at, right? It's just basically when something's happened, like either you've had an incident, someone's broken in, someone's come to the front door, you didn't know who it was, you're trying to check out to see if the kids are okay, whatever happens to be. And you can just look it up and go, okay, yeah, there, and have a look. So that side of things was really cool. Now, I do have some caveats to the installation process, however, that I really want to bring up. And because for me, the experience was quite seamless, but I am handy on the tools and I also am reasonably tech savvy. There's a couple of places where I think that you can get caught out. And the first is obviously if you can't get up a ladder or get to a high spot, if you're not comfortable drilling, screwing, that kind of thing, then obviously there's a little barrier to entry there that you might need some help with. It's very low level stuff. If you can't do it personally, you're sure to have a mate who can. It's definitely not worth paying someone to come and install it. It's way too easy and way too simple for that. But that may be a bit of an impediment for you. And also the Wi-Fi side of things can catch a lot of people out, I think, because first off, you need the sync module to be in your Wi-Fi network, but also close enough to the security camera that it can talk to each other. So the point that I'm trying to make here, you can't go and install it at the front gate of your farm and then go back a kilometre to your house where your Wi-Fi network is and expect it to be able to reach each other. It's not going to happen. I'm not sure what the distance is. In my house, the distance from the sync module to the camera, so the camera is actually just in that corner, just up there, looking down on my driveway. I've got the sync module on the other side of this room, just plugged in. So it's probably 6 meters, 5 or 6 meters through a brick wall, but 5 or 6 meters and it's fine. And then I've got a Wi-Fi mesh network set up in my house. So everywhere's got full Wi-Fi. So there's no problems at all. I've had no problems at all with resolution. I've had no problems at all with dropouts. Now, if you are someone who has their Wi-Fi is just a single router and it's on the far side of the house from where you want the camera, you'd want to go into the place somewhere in between and hope that you're getting decent Wi-Fi. I think that could catch a few people out if you've got a big house with a big distance. I think for most residences in 2024, it's going to be perfectly fine, but it's something to note. And the third thing is that it only connects via a 2.4 gigahertz frequency network. This is a bit of a bugbear for me actually, because I'm finding a lot of techs doing this at the moment. It's only allowing you to sync up on a specific frequency. And this just creates a problem, I think, for a lot of people who aren't tech savvy, don't realize that their router is set up on a 5 gigahertz frequency, and then they've got a piece of tech that only wants a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, and they're trying to sync it, and it won't sync, and it won't find each other. It's very, very, very frustrating. I think that's 99% of the problem, is that people don't have their router set to the frequency that the tech they're trying to connect needs. And that may feel like it's a little bit over your head. It's actually reasonably easy to change. Most routers can do both, or even have two different networks, one for 2.4 gigahertz and one for 5 gigahertz, and you just need to be able to connect to the right one. But if you want to know what your frequency is, go to your phone, go to your Wi-Fi network, click on your Wi-Fi network, open it up, and it'll usually say frequency, and it'll usually say 2.4 or 5. Now, if yours says 5, then you're gonna have to work out a way to find 2.4 or get 2.4 work in your house. So these are the caveats to the installation process. So I know it was a bit long and in detail, but I think that's what's going to catch people out. So I just really want to be very specific about it, but also because I think the installation process was a bit of a dream, like hour start to finish, fully working for me. And so it's a huge thumbs up. And I know some of you might go in there and go, well, it didn't work for me. And I just wanted to explain why it might not have. And now you know. Now, design-wise, I really quite like it. I think they've done a really nice job. It's very small and petite with its square shape. it kind of disappears quite easily into the facade of the outdoor of your house. It doesn't stick out as, oh, a big security camera. Now, I guess that's the pros and cons. For me, I'm happy for people not to know I've got a security camera. I'm not sticking up there for show. It's just so that I can keep an eye out on what's going on in front of my house. For you, it may be that you want people to know you've got a security camera, that's going to be the thing that you want people to be put off by trying anything. That could be what you're looking for a security camera for. So in that regard, it doesn't look like a security camera at all. So that could be a problem for you. For me, I actually quite liked it. I really liked the fact that it just disappeared. I didn't really notice it, even though I got the wrong color for my facade because I got black and my facade is white. It could have blended even more, but even as black, I barely even notice it's there. I barely even pick up that it's there. So really good there. The sync module as well is very small. It's like, you know, it's not much bigger than say a pack of matches. So it doesn't really clutter up your house. It's not another thing other than the fact that it needs power. So it's taking a power point, but the actual device itself isn't this big thing that's gonna, like a big router or something that's gonna be an eyesore and wrecking the look of your house. It's very, very petite, very, very small and very easy to hide away. So in that regard, I think they've done a really good job with the design of the Bling Outdoor 4. It's elegant. It's an elegant solution. So onto the performance side of things, and look, let's just tick off the battery life thing straight away. I can't test it. It's supposed to last 2 years. So maybe keep an eye on the channel. Maybe if in 6 months from now I'm putting up a video saying, hey, the batteries are already flat, then you'll know. But hopefully, like I said, I've got it set pretty high, so I think it's gonna burn the batteries a lot faster than that 2 years. But I'm still hopeful of getting at least a year out of it. Now, in terms of the actual footage that you're picking up, I'm really happy with it in daylight hours. So in daylight hours, the wide angle gives you such a good vantage point on everything that's at the front of your house. Like, it's really wide to the point where originally I thought, oh, am I going to need 2 cameras? And it's wide enough that I really only needed the one to get a good idea of what was going on. The images that I'm recording, that are coming back, look, they're pretty crisp. I can make out faces in it. I can identify people in it without too many problems at all. And the motion detection, where I've got it set, is exactly where I want it. It's picking up everything I need. It's like I've got it overly sensitive, like it can pick up on bugs or, you know, a big gust of wind moving a tree or something like that. But that's okay because I don't have notifications on anyway. It's just basically they're getting recorded to the cloud, and should I ever need to look at it, I can just go tap and there it is. The live streaming side of things, it can be a little slow to open up. So when you open up the app, it's just kind of, it goes to the next bit, then you load up and it thinks about it for a little bit, then it starts showing you the live feed. It's not really a very long amount of time, it's like a couple of seconds, but it feels like an age if you're like sitting there and you just hear a big bang out the front, you're like, whoa, what was that? And you're like, you know, what is it? What's going on? You know, and then you're trying to work out, you know, whether or not you have to do anything. That's when it's a bit of a problem. Also, if you get a notification, for example, and then you're out and about, and you're like, oh, what's the person at my front door for? And then you want to go to the live feed and just check it out, because you can actually talk through it too. Those couple of seconds just grate a little bit, but otherwise, you know, the live streaming, it works really well. At nighttime, things are a little bit different. So that big, fat, wide field of view that you get at night, it really shrinks down considerably. I'd say by 70%. Becomes a lot more focused on more or less what you're looking at straight out of the camera, and the range drops a lot as well. Now that's probably not a big surprise, but yeah, if you're expecting like killer night vision in this, you're not going to get it. You are going to greatly lose your field of view and your range and your scope at nighttime, but you're still getting a good bead on potentially the most important area, which is where the camera is focused. I will say that if that's a concern for you, you could just pair it up with a light, which is a motion sensing light, which you may have already, which if someone actually does come that close to the house, is actually going to then light the area up and then give you that bigger field of view at night anyway. So that is something to take into account. Yeah, the night vision side of things definitely could be better, but overall, when I'm looking at a device that cost $149 and was that easy to install, and even if you get it for $75, which is what I just saw out before I jumped onto this camera, you know, it's still great value for money. But not everything is great value for money here. Now, there's two things that I'm really disappointed with the Bling Outdoor 4. The first one is the way that the subscriptions are handled. Now, I understand that if you want to have all your stuff recorded and saved on the cloud and be accessible at any time with the tap of a button, there's a probably significant ongoing server cost there that needs to be mitigated. I can understand that there is a subscription for that. Features like person detection, that I don't know why that is behind a paywall. That feels like something that could be on the front of the paywall. Since it's literally going to record it anyway because it's still motion, but all it does is just let you know it's a person, so you can jump to it quicker when you're scrolling through 1,000 clips and go, okay, that's something I need to look at. So some of that stuff, and I've seen this elsewhere in subscription services, it's just gated, and I don't understand why it's gated. But more of a concern for me is that I've got Amazon Prime Video, and I've got Kindle Unlimited, and I've got a Ring doorbell, and now I have a Blink security camera, and they're all owned by the same company, yet they're all separate subscription services. And I think that's really crap, sorry. I'm paying the same company multiple times for effectively the same thing in a lot of cases. Maybe, okay, I understand Kindle Unlimited is different, Prime Video is different. I've also got Amazon Prime shopping subscription. They're all intertwined in a way. But Ring is basically a subscription to save video onto a server, and Blink is basically a subscription to save video onto a server. So why are they double dipping on me? And the fact that there's no discount for being loyal to the overall global brand here frustrates me, and I think that they need to look at that and look at the ways that they could better serve their customers by saying, hey, this dude is just doing the same thing with two different versions of our products. Do we really need to sting him the full amount for both products? So that's something I like to look at. The other thing as well is that there's no PC app, and I think that's a swing and a miss, because while it's great to be able to have it on your devices, your tablet, on your phone, during the day, I'm sure many of you are the same, you're sitting there at the desktop, you've got your screen open, maybe you've got a couple of screens open, you're dual screening, or you've got a big wide screen, something like that, and maybe you're waiting for a delivery, or maybe you're really worried about something, maybe there's been a threat or something like that, and that's why to be able to just bring up a little window and just have it sitting picture on picture over the top in the corner there, so that you can go, oh, whenever something happens, I think that would have been a feature that many people would have liked to have had and liked to have used. And I don't understand why you can't just log in through the PC somehow. So that's something I'd like them to see do in future iterations of Blink. Without a doubt, the Blink Outdoor 4 is great value for money. I really loved how easy it was to install. I really loved how quickly it was just to all of a sudden have this viewpoint advantage on the front of my house through my mobile phone. The effort was low, the buying cost was low, and the quality of the experience is more than acceptable for the price that you're paying, and probably even better than what I expected for the price that I'm paying. Could it have better night vision? Absolutely. Could the subscription model be a bit nicer? Absolutely. But ultimately, I'm pretty impressed with the product, and as a result, I am happy to recommend it. Couple of thumbs up for this one. The Blink Outdoor 4, especially if you can get it for 75 bucks, you're getting a steal, I think, and a really easy and non-destructive solution to a security camera in your home. All right, those are my thoughts on the Blink Outdoor 4 security camera. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out my other videos. I've got a few other Blink products as well. This is an outdoor device, as the name would suggest. There's indoor devices. There's a few different devices that Blink have on offer. So keep it on the channel. I'll try and review all of them. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll check you next time.